Okay, so I couldn't find a picture for the episode Move It or Lose It, so I thought I would show this picture right here. It is a SpongeBob float made by Deer Park High School in Deer Park, New York. This caught my full attention, so I thought why not share it in this video. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's creative. It looked like they really put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's always great. It's for the Nickelodeon-themed homecoming parade, and it just blew me away when I saw this. So if you're one of those people that goes to Deer Park High School, a big congratulations. I love it, you guys. Just really love it. Leave your comments below and tell me what you think of Deer Park High School SpongeBob Homecoming Float. Hey you guys, this is 22 Tiger Dude, and I am here to review the SpongeBob episode, Move It or Lose It. Move It or Lose It and Chum Fricassee are the final Season 8 episodes to air. So after these two pairings, it's no more SpongeBob and full screen. For the rest of the seasons, from Season 9 and so on, it will now be at SpongeBob in HD. So these are your final times of seeing a new SpongeBob episode in full screen. But nonetheless, it's the final season of episodes, and they could continue on with Season 9 now. So Move It or Lose It. This City of Bikini Bottom guy, he tells Mr. Krabs and Plankton that both restaurants, the Krusty Krab and the Chum Bucket, have to be at least 100 feet within each other, or else he has to get rid of one of those restaurants because they can't be that close. They must be at least 100 feet away. With Mr. Krabs and Plankton, the two of them sign a petition. Well, mainly Plankton. Plankton just comes up with schemes, of course. It involves money, giving people free money to sign petitions, and all that stuff. Mr. Krabs, I don't know. He didn't really show much to get it back. Of course, he gets SpongeBob on the work. So this episode, it's interesting. It's pretty funny. I really didn't laugh that much. I think this episode was on the low bar for humor, in my opinion. But storyline's really magnificent. Animation, do I even have to say the animation every episode? Spot on, amazing. Plankton's schemes was pretty funny to see too. Just when the episode gets to the ending, it was just very funny. I actually didn't expect it. So, if you guys expected what was happening in the ending, that's cool, but I did not expect that to happen at all. And now that I'm reviewing this right now, there's really not much to talk about here. It's not my favorite episode. I think the only problems I had was that the episode was low on humor, and it can be a bit boring to watch at times. Of course, the most hilarious part is by far the ending, and I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. Chum Fricassee is about when Mr. Krabs tells Squidward that he doesn't know anything about running a restaurant. So then, when Squidward is tired of Mr. Krabs telling him that he can't run a restaurant, he decides to quit his job at the Krusty Krab. And when Plankton hears about what Squidward said and he quit his job at the Krusty Krab, he comes to him and asks Squidward to run the Chum Bucket. And so Squidward helps Plankton run the Chum Bucket, except turn it into like some kind of gourmet restaurant. And Squidward creates a recipe called Chum Fricassee, where it's gourmet and it makes the chum, Plankton's disgusting, crappy chum, taste delicious. And it was from his grandma's secret recipe. And of course, Squidward doesn't tell Plankton because he doesn't trust him, so that's good for Squidward. Watching this episode, I loved it. I thought it was better than Move It or Lose It. I thought it was very funny. The plot was original. It's great to see Squidward run the restaurant. He actually proved to himself that he can actually run a restaurant on his own. And that was really interesting to see. But now my question is, if Squidward really hates working at the Krusty Krab, why does he keep working there? Why can't Squidward just already quit his job at the Krusty Krab, go out, open up his own restaurant, just do that? The guy already proves that he could be his own manager to Mr. Krabs. We haven't really seen an episode where Squidward does his own thing in a while, so I think that's what makes this episode really great. And then near the end of the episode, we were actually introduced to Squidward's grandma. At first I thought it was going to be Squidward's mom, which we've seen in a couple of episodes, but no, it was Squidward's grandma, and that was hilarious right there. A lot of the parts made me laugh. I don't know if it made you people laugh. I could probably see some people saying this episode didn't have enough humor, but I don't know. This episode made me laugh because I guess you could say the humor was original. It was more spot on. It flowed more with the plot. And I think that's why I really love this episode. I think my only real nitpick about this episode was how Squidward treated Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob. Now, Mr. Krabs, I totally understand. I completely understand why he would treat Mr. Krabs bad. But SpongeBob too? What did SpongeBob do? SpongeBob didn't do anything. All Mr. Krabs said to Squidward was that he bet he can't run a restaurant. He's all laughing and in front of his face. But SpongeBob didn't deserve that, so that's really my only nitpick about the episode. But nonetheless, I love this episode of SpongeBob. It's just an episode that flowed very well. It was great to see Squidward running the Chum Bucket turn into his gourmet restaurant. And it was just original. So I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. Now I'm curious. What does Chum Fricassee taste like now? Everyone's in Bikini Bottom, even Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob say how amazing it is. So now I'm curious to taste the Chum Fricassee. Weird.
Subscribe to me, comment below, and give me your thoughts on the SpongeBob episode. Like this video, share this video. I hope you all enjoyed what you've seen here, and don't forget I have Tiger Power!